Hey, what's going on, Playbookers? Todd here with the Church Playbook. And it's Monday morning. And y'all, that Monday morning hangover is real. Woo! Our church just went to a 3-service format on Sunday mornings. And for the last few years, we've been doing 2 Sunday mornings and 1 Sunday night. So I would finish preaching the second service, go home, eat lunch, take a nap, get up about 45 minutes to an hour before the third service. I wake up on Monday, I'd be fine. There's something about preaching 3 services in a row that just tears me up when it comes to Monday morning. So we're out running some errands, and I figured this would be a good time to answer the next question that comes up a lot. I'm trying to answer really the top 50 questions that churches have that are under an attendance of 200, and so we've talked about like, how do you get more people in the door without a bigger budget? And so right now I want to talk about the 6 steps that our church took to go from 0 to 200 in less than a year. And because I've gotten that question a lot since I've written the Church Playbook, and we've been promoting the book a lot, and so I say, hey, if you want to know how what steps our church took, the 6 steps, check out the playbook. And so people have been asking, well, what are the 6 steps? So I'm just going to go ahead and give them to you right now. And you just need to understand that the context in which I'm giving you these steps are coming from the Church Playbook. And so when you understand how and why I wrote the playbook the way I did, these steps will make a little bit more sense. Because, in the playbook, I explained that our church, we started with 3 families, and we got right up to about 200, and then, we had some drama happen, some betrayal, some hurt, and our church shrunk to like 125, from 200 to 125 in just a few weeks. And so I spent so much money on conferences and coaching and books, and nothing seemed to work. And so I just kind of gave up on it. And I coach football. That's, I coach Pop Warner. I've been doing it for 10, 11, 12 years, something like that. And I found out by accident that the style, the methods that I was using to coach a winning football team was actually causing our church to grow again. And we've grown to, I talk about going to 0 to 200. We've grown over 3 times that since, using the steps that I write about in the Church Playbook. And so here are the 6 steps. The first step that we took in going from 0 to 200 was, you have to figure out who's on your team. You got to figure out who's on your team. And I'm not just talking about the players, because in football and soccer, whatever sport, the team is bigger than just the players. So you got to start with the owner. Who's the owner of the team? In our case, the league board were the owners of the team. And so, whoever your elder board is, board of directors, trustees, whatever you call it in your tradition, those are the owners of the team. And so that's the first kind of person that's on the team. The second kind are your coaches. So this would be like your staff, assistant pastors, pastoral assistants, whatever you call them. Then you come to the players, and those are your volunteers. Those are the people that show up and make sure the church gets done. And then after that, you have your fan base, your community. And these are the people that are rooting for your team, and they show up anywhere between once or twice a year to 12 times a year to, they don't miss a service, they don't miss a Sunday. They show up, they love the experience. Now they're not on the team, they're not helping, they're not coaching, they're not owners. And so you got to figure out who's on your team. That's the first step. The second step that we took is you have to get the field ready. Because in Pop Warner, you got to show up to practice early and set up all the cones and all the tackling dummies and all of that. And on the games, you got to set up the game field early. And so setting up the field, getting the field ready in our church world looks different when you look at the different kinds of people that are on your team. So getting the field ready for an owner is different than getting the field ready for a fan. And so, but you got to get the field ready. Then the next step after that we took is we had to pick our offense and defense. And by the way, this is the team, the Santee Ravens, that I've been coaching for. This is my 10th season with the Ravens. I'm actually a Chicago Bears fan, so hope that doesn't offend anybody, but I was actually born outside of Chicago, even though I live in San Diego. So you got to pick your offense and defense. And in Pop Warner, this is so important, because you get a lot of these coaches that, they love what they see on Monday Night Football. They whoever the star quarterback is these days, we want to run a spread offense. We want to run a shotgun offense. We want to run a jet or a pistol or whatever the cool thing they either saw on, the Sunday morning games, or worse, some playbook they ripped off from Madden football. And then they try and get a 10-year-old to throw the ball 40 yards, and the poor kid can't throw the ball 10 yards accurately. And then when he's got some 11-year-old defensive end in his face, he's going to throw an interception. So you've got to watch this. You've got to pick an offense and defense that fits the personnel that you have. The objective of the game is the same. We're trying to win. We're trying to score points. We're trying to keep the other team from scoring points. But you've got to pick an offense and defense that is right for the personnel that you have. And so I talk more about that in the Church Playbook. Then, and this honestly is my favorite little chapter in this field guide that I call the Church Playbook. You've got to set your practice schedule. Now, Pastor, for you and for me, the practice schedule is how we spend our week in getting ready for the game. And I'm telling you, this little chapter right here is worth the price of the whole book. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to maximize your time, be more efficient. This is especially helpful if you're bivocational. And again, a lot of churches that have less than 200 people, the senior pastor is bivocational. So this is going to help you a ton, but you got to set the practice schedule. So then after that, we're preparing for the whole season. And this is, in Pop Warner, we're looking at our schedule for the season. We're preparing for those opponents. In the church world, this means we're pulling out a 12-month calendar, and we're talking about things like, what am I going to teach about in the next 12 months? How many verse-by-verse book studies am I going to do versus topical studies? Or how many baptisms are we going to do? How many potlucks? How many men's events, women's events? And you put all of it on the calendar, so you have ample time to promote those events. Now, right now, the most committed people in churches are averaging 1.8 Sundays a month. That's less than half the year when you extrapolate it out over 12 months. And so if you're going to, do an event, you need to promote that thing 6 weeks before the event. You can't just get up on stage on Sunday and say, "Hey, we're gonna do this big event next week," because you're missing half your church. So if you promote something 6 weeks out, at least you can know everyone's going to hear it 3 times. And so you gotta prepare for the whole season. The next chapter is on preparing for the upcoming game, and this is how we plan out specific Sundays. And then the last step, the last chapter, is about preparing for the big game. And for us, these are our Easter Sundays, our Mother's Days, our Christmases. These are your made-up holidays that you make up to give your church an excuse to invite the unchurched again. But that's what it is. You got to figure out who's on your team. You got to get the field ready. You got to pick your offense and defense. You got to come up with your practice schedule. You got to prepare for the upcoming game. And then you prepare for the big game a little bit differently than you prepare for a regular game. Those are the 6 steps that our church took to go from 0 to 200 in less than a year. Now, listen, if you got questions, comments, I'd put them in the comment section below. It would be a huge help if you would like, comment, and subscribe to this video, to this channel on YouTube. You'll also see a link in the description below for the book, the Church Playbook, and how you can get a copy of that. And I'm going to go and run some more errands, but it's been fun to hang out with you guys. God bless you. We'll see you next time.